Claudette, good night to you. Fox. Joshua John, are you there? Good night to you, sir.
Good night, sir. How are you?
Are you up? Have your coffee?
Boy, no amount of coffee can help me tonight. And I'm not talking about just being tired. I really don't want to sleep. I'm tired, but I've been sounding a certain alarm for months now.
Yes.
You know, and I saw a tape being I saw a TikTok video was made, and then a voice note accompanied it. Which kind of confirmed the alarm that I was trying to, in my view, confirm the alarm that I've been trying to sound. And it's rather disturbing, but I think we are taking some things too simple, and history will prove me to be correct.
Okay. Joshua, here's where I want to start with you tonight. I would like to get your view on the whole matter of the Prime Minister asking that other people join the government in explaining the policies of the government. Why can't the government do it?
Right. So the truth is the government, well, first of all, good night to your panelists, Harry and Scratchy, and all of your guests, wherever they are. The truth is, if we have been listening to the Prime Minister over the last 6 or so years, especially within the last 4 years, whenever he's making a speech, he doesn't just make a speech that is expedient, whether it be in Parliament or he's at a groundbreaking ceremony or any other thing that has to do with Jamaica. He's at pains to explain the policies of the government, not just mention it, not just speak of the benefits which exist, but he goes into details trying to explain policy, how they work, how they function, and the benefits that will be derived from it. Yet, because of the mass propaganda that has been mounted by the opposition party, view to detract from the message, and the amount of persons, and I know I'm repeating when I say mass and amount, it has taken away from that message. And so what I believe that the government is trying to do, the Prime Minister himself is trying to do, as well as the rest of the party, is to engage those who are knowledgeable in relation to the policies that are there, that have been implemented, and the benefits that people can get from these policies and are intended for people, for those persons with those knowledge, to delve and to dive deeper into it, to explain, to counter the false narrative that is being put forward by the opposition and the propagandists.
The Jamaica Labour Party Communications Task Force, the Observer is reporting that they're saying that they're going to step up efforts in war on misinformation. Joshua, would you not agree that they shouldn't be talking at this time about stepping up any effort, but the party should be quite on point aware of this long ago and was doing something about it? Why did they wait for it to come to this point?
I agree with you, sir. And it's unfortunate that I have to agree with you on this, not because I want to be disagreeable, but rather because the onus is on the party itself. When we look at the PNP has always been in campaign mode, whether they are in government or outside of government, and more so under Mark Golding due to his desperation in wanting to be Prime Minister of the country. And as a result of that, not accepting that a duly elected, a duly constituted authority is in place, and he's not that authority, and he's not the elected leader, right? And so, along with that, there has been a history in the JLP wherein whenever propaganda starts, the JLP is of the view that people will understand that these things are lies and ignore it. Not just the people will ignore it, but the JLP has largely throughout the years ignored these things. I have spoken to many JLP persons, and I'm talking as much as far as MPs. I've called them and told them of things that I know personally. And I've said, hey, this is what is happening. And they said, no, it's soon fade. I personally have spoken to them, right? And I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about 8-9 years ago when some things just began. Called them on their phone and they said, no, don't pay that no mind. That will soon pass, right? And I've lived to see those things grow legs, right? And unfortunately, it is now coming to the point where the small snake has now become an anaconda, right? And now poses a danger to the rest of the zoo.
Okay, now that statement the Prime Minister made yesterday about threats, Joshua, are you concerned that the Prime Minister is having to speak like this and to be sounding an alarm as if someone is threatening him?
I am concerned not only for the Prime Minister, but for any country that finds itself in a position where the leader of the country has to be taking both defensive and offensive action against propagandists and against propaganda. And not just any propaganda, but a propaganda that has been largely steered and begun by the opposing party. I will say this unapologetically, right? And without fear for my own life that the opposition leader is behind it.
Behind what?
All of what is taking place, including the threat against the Prime Minister. I will say it unapologetically and without fear for my own life.
Behind what, sir?
All right. So if we listen to what the opposition leader has said, and we can go way back, but let us speak of the most recent. He said, the PM is well advised. Let us look at a parallel. When we were children, and if your parents say something to you and you don't listen to your parents will say, still they don't listen to me. All I can say, see. Or sometimes your brother or your sister may tell you something that your parents may say, and you say, boy, mommy never said that. And you say, all right, just stay there. You wait till mommy come. So it's a veiled and not so veiled threat to say, listen me. If you don't want to take my advice, you see these 400 people who back me, listen to them and the threats that they are giving you on social media. When people are going to pass their hands across their necks, when people are going to say the youth them are going to rise them machine. And I'm saying this, I'm saying what others are afraid to say in the neighbor. I am not afraid, sir. I am a dead man walking already, and I don't care, I know you have never heard me speak this way in the years you have known me. We have known each other for 16 years, and you have never heard me speak this way. I am a dead man walking. I don't care.
Yes.
I already purpose in my heart.
I never see you as a dopey, sir.
Well, I have purposed in my heart that they're going to come after me, and I'm willing to pay the price. I don't care one bit. It's time for somebody to expose Mark Golding and what he's up to. Labor right now go give up this so easy, Me have a strength with me. The junglers them back me. Huh? That's what Mark Golding is saying. The tape I heard. It is very damning. And I've sent it to one of the senators already.
What tape, sir?
A tape that speaks of a threat against the Prime Minister's life, and they're planning on uprising. And Mark Golding, I believe with all my heart, is behind it, because we have been seeing the tea leaves. I have been reading the tea leaves, and I've been warning. Even last night, I was here speaking of these things, and I've been warning from September, even before, and I've been warning from September that we have to listen to how he has been behaving, and I've been citing history and how they start slowly with propaganda and eventually overthrow. And this is what has come to my attention, that they're planning an overthrow. And this is not just tacitly.
Overthrow of the government?
That's what they're planning.
What is... What? But Joshua, we have had a very, healthy democracy. We go to the polls and we elect leaders. We survived a one-seat majority, Joshua, in 2007. Why would we even countenance that?
Sir, we survived a one-seat majority when we still had statesmen in our parliament on the opposition bench. And we still had a leader who, despite his opposing nature at the time in the form of Peter Phillips, was still stately and understood what it means not to cross certain lines. Mark Golding has no such caution in him. Mark Golding has no assets in Jamaica, so he has nothing to lose. He boards a plane and heads straight back to England, while the people of Jamaica feel it. All he wants to do is to say, I'm a prime minister, if it's even for one day. When the opposition leader can mount a protest against the country that he wants to lead because it's politically expedient, when an opposition leader can only think of bad-mouthing a country and not think about the consequences of same, and even if he thinks about it, don't care, it says that that man is desperate and he's willing to do anything to get his clutches. He reminds me, and I said this last night, he reminds me of Hitler. Last week I told you that I see tenets of fascism in this man. And I've been warning. And labor rights have tried to dismiss me over and over. When I say dismiss me, not in a rude way, but almost brush it aside, sure. And I've heard Scratchy said a while ago, respectfully, Scratchy, I love you, my brother. Mark Golding have sense. I don't share that. Because good sense is different from just having sense. Mark Golding don't have that kind of good sense, that kind of sensibility. Mark Golding is drunk with the idea of becoming prime minister. And as Jamaica Politics Uncovered said approximately 3 years ago, that they came across a WhatsApp message, because she's a part of the WhatsApp group too, when he says we will destroy Jamaica and build it back in 5 years. We must not take these things lightly. And I hope the US government is listening and be prepared to come down and swoop down if it's even a firecracker go off, and let them feel the pangs of it. And they must take no man breathing. None must be left breathing.
Uh-oh.
As I said before, and I hope Mark Golding and his team is listening, I'm a dead man walking. I don't care. I love my country too much, and I'm willing to give my life for it. PNP don't love Jamaica. One PNP said, and when Chuck told me, I told him it wasn't true until I heard otherwise. And Chuck is not a liar. Chuck told me that he was talking to a PNP and alive. And the PNP said, if he has to choose between his family and PNP, he will choose PNP. Now, what kind of fanaticism is that? That is indoctrination and cultism. And this is what the PNP has done. The former PNP YO wrote to them about paying people to tell lies. And when you can stand against your country in the name of getting the person who you want at the helm, it says you don't love the country. And this is a pivotal moment for Jamaicans to look within themselves.
They are paying people to tell lies, so?
Yes.
Oh? Is that happening in Jamaica?
Well, April 2019, Jamaica Observer. The article is there. The former president of the PNP, Christian Tomlinson.
That came out in the Observer here, sir?
Yes, sir.
What are you saying to me? You have the article?
Well, I'm willing to read it, sir. Willing to read it. And for the brilliant minds who are far more erudite than I could ever be, whether in hopes or reality, they can dissect it and tell me what they think it means. You know, this is a sad moment in Jamaica's history when people are so drunk with the idea of being in power that the safety of the nation and even their own children doesn't matter to them. I wonder if they understand what it means for something like this to happen. When PNP said approximately 2 years ago that they will make Jamaica like Haiti, this is not a new thing. Jamaica Young Police Channel mentioned it 2 years ago also, that a man was imported from Haiti, an assassin, to do a certain job. Militant PNP, I'm reading this, sir. This is April 2019
from the Observer. From the Observer, sir?
Yes, sir. The Daily Observer, Jamaica, April 16th, 2019. The heading is Militant PNP YO getting quiet support from some elders. And I've screenshot an excerpt. It says the youth arm further recommended an overhaul of the PNP's communication machinery, which political analysts say was found wanting in the lead up to the 2016 general election and as recent Portland Eastern by-election. Communication, PR, and propaganda machinery must be financed. Listen.
The word propaganda machinery is there?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Must be financed. And the PNP is suggesting a structural reform, which means hiring adequate staff. So you must have a mass of people, right? And making some positions redundant. We need a communications director, somebody in charge of telling lie, with a clear voice, a clear message, and full access to all 63 constituencies. So this is not a small undertaking, right? And their communication processes so that there can be cohesion, togetherness in doing this, and communication reaching the grassroots from the party's leadership. From where? The party's leadership. It doesn't get clearer than that. The Jamaica Observer, 16th of April, 2019. This was printed in, written by Crystal Tomlinson, former PNP YO. This is something that they're financing, the mass lies against the Prime Minister. Ronnie Lawrence being inserted within the IC is not by accident, and I've been sounding the alarm from the moment he got there, and nobody listening to me. This is a chess move by the PNP. Now that he's the director of prosecution within the IC, director of corruption prosecution within the IC, it's not by chance, and we see the first chess move. It's designed to paint not only the Prime Minister as corrupt, but his administration, so that the people will become incensed And then it's easy to agitate them and get them to do their bidding. We must not bypass these things. We must not take them lightly and say it cannot happen. History has proven itself over and over that it has happened before. And all of these places that it took place before, I am sure that they felt that it couldn't have happened before it actually took place.
Well, I just pulled up a piece of tape, and I'm wondering if this is supporting your argument. Listen to Mr. Fitzhenley again.
But this lot, this brand of Mark Golding led PNP, my God, they lie about matters of lot. This brand of Mark Golding led PNP, my God, they lie about matters of national importance and current affairs.
This brand of PNP, they lie about a current affair. That's Mr. Fitzhenley talking there, almost supporting what you're saying, Joshua.
Yes, sir. Sir Neighbor, Jamaica's the closest we have ever come to this is in the 70s, And as dreadful as the 70s was, that culminated in the violence of 1980. It was nothing compared. You see, persons often speak of the violent election of 1980. But what they did not...
Hold on there, Joshua, but you don't think that a lot of these people on social media are just individuals rolling up their mouths? They love their party and they're doing their little thing. You
No,
really
sir.
think it's organized and
sir.
funded?
Sir, my entire family are comrades. I am the only laborite in my family. I know how they function. Right? And, sir, I want to issue a warning. And let me tell you why. We often speak of the violence of 1980, the election of 1980. But what we have not spoken about is where it began. 1980 was a culmination of what began from 1976. Right? We look at 1980 and when it spiraled out of control to 800 plus persons losing their lives. But 1976, when the opposition started targeting, when the government at the time started targeting the opposition members, and as bad as that was, this period is far more dangerous because now he has enlisted voices that are of note. Entertainers are now a part of it. Right? People of influence are a part of it. It is a deliberate attack on the state by the opposition leader. That is why they keep asking the same questions over and over, and they have enlisted even journalists to do their bidding. Because the aim is to get people so incensed and against the Prime Minister in particular that they are willing to do anything that is required of them to overthrow the government. And I'm repeating, sir, they are willing to do anything that is required of them to overthrow the government. Mark Golding himself won't get up and do it because it would be too obvious. But what he does, he fan the flames behind the scene. And it started when he went on the stage 4 years ago to call the Prime Minister thief. And then it later went on further, to almost a crescendo when he went to overseas to do his demonstration. And we observe that every time the Prime Minister tried to do something, Mark Golding will ask for something. And whenever he gets it, he refuses it and then come back and say it never happened. And then he's saying that the Prime Minister is not communicating with him. What do you think the followers are going to believe? Why? This man is this man. And every time that Mark Golding says that, then people become more angry, and you have never heard the opposition leader at any point in time. He loves press conference, but he has never gone on a stage to say, hey, guys, tone down the rhetoric. Because he can't, because he's the person behind it. He's the puppet master. That is why he boldly stated 400,000 persons voted for him. He's the puppet master. This man is more dangerous than Mussolini. I said it before and I will say it again. It's the most dangerous opposition leader or political leader Jamaica has ever seen. The closest to him was Trevor Monroe, who wanted to assassinate Michael Manley and took over and blame it on Edward Seaga so that he could have been Prime Minister of Jamaica. The closest to him was that person.
Wow. Boy, Joshua, I'm only 13 minutes left, and you have filled us with so much tonight that we're almost shaking, sir.
Sir, I definitely would like Jamaica not to take this thing lightly. The time that we take, and I'm not saying that persons mustn't have fun as individuals, but whenever we go online, I've said it to persons, the reason we are there and the reason most of us know each other, and I'm not talking about those who already knew each other before social media. I'm talking about those of us who came in contact with each other on social media, in the political space. The reason we knew each other is because we had one common goal and objective. We must remember when we go online, that objective that brought us there in the first place. And we must seek to destroy the folly, the propaganda, the lie, the misinformation. The lies are getting out of hand, and I'm speaking to all well-thinking Jamaican, irrespective of which political party you support. Think about the consequences of the lies when the nation is in flame. Can your children that you love so much bear a nation that is in uproar? If you think the 90s were bad, when you heard about Kingston and you trembled, if you have a revolt in the nation, an uprising in the nation, a coup in the nation, it will make what Kingston was in the 90s be like a one-day-old baby in comparison to what will happen. I am asking Jamaicans, irrespective of which party you support, neighbor, before the parish council election, and I'm going to call two PNP names. Before the parish council election, last year, I was on caution, and I spoke about us dialing it down because it's getting out of hand. I asked Hugh Blair to let us meet and show a sense of unity so that we can ask the others to dial it down because this thing is getting out of hand. Ask Hugh Blair. Anytime he comes up, you can ask him. And I asked him to let us meet, he, myself, Chuck, and Hugh Richards. And as a show of solidarity to dial it down. And as bad as it was then when I asked for it, it is multiple times worse now. I'm saying for the sake of the nation, this thing has gotten to a point where it's like a keg filled with powder that loads, the GUN. And all it needs is just a match to get it going. When there are voice notes going around, the official did the video and he's able to play the voice notes, and he has called upon JCF and he says, I am willing to supply the other voice notes that I have to you, JCF, so contact me. And voice notes are going around that the Maroons are planning an uprising. And this is sad. And I've been warning against this for the longest while. I've said last night that I've studied Mark Golding carefully and I've not been wrong so far. And for that to come out today is still proving me to be correct. And I want to be wrong, and I've not been wrong yet. I have studied the man carefully. The man is a narcissist. And he's a dictator. And he's drunk with the idea of being prime minister. And he's the puppet master behind everything that is happening.
Well,
and neighbor,
yes,
I land there.
Well, sir, we have to keep talking. All right. So I'll talk to you about the insurance matter at another time, eh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Running out of
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you so much.